We're backstage at Wonderbus Music Arts Festival, joined by the one and only Mobley. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Good to see you.
Oh my goodness. Of course. Yeah, great to see you in real life.
Yeah.
After speaking, gosh, it must have been almost a year and a half ago at the very start of this. And what a year and a half it's been. It's it's cool to see at the little kind of warm-up party last night to get to see you perform in real life after previously only catching those virtual shows that you did.
Yeah.
So I want to kind of launch in here and talk about some of those because I wound up tuning into the first one. I tuned into the second one expecting a rerun. I did not get a rerun. What we got instead was almost a dozen, right? Like individually filmed, like 45-minute concert films. Those were incredible.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. Can I ask what kind of sparked the idea to make them so unique along the way?
Yeah, well, I was, I have a background in film, and when the pandemics really started and it was clear that live shows weren't going to be around for a while, at first I did some live streaming and, which is cool. I'm not knocking it at all, but it's not really my style. I really interact with my audiences in my live show. So then I started thinking, like, what are the ways in which the medium of doing concerts and film is unique, and what are the kind of things that you can do with that, with a show that's a film that you can't do on a stage. Right. And so the idea was, well, I can go anywhere. And so we did shows on the roof of a hotel, like walking out in the hill country, like the Gulf of Mexico, on the beach at dawn. I wanted to to transport people, Yeah. We were so stuck at home that I wanted to give people a way to have a little bit of an escape, but also to, basically everywhere we did a show was kind of a monument to collective spaces. And then it was like this eerie thing of me being alone. So like, one of the shows was in a new soccer stadium in Austin, and I was the only person in this entire stadium. Which
that's awesome.
Yeah, so it was cool. As an artist, you're always just trying to come up with new ways to communicate to people, and that felt like an inspired one, so we chased it.
Yeah, I love the idea of kind of turning the performance on its head, and instead of appearing where an audience is, to take the audience where they cannot go.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the one in the Austin FC stadium that was being built under construction at the time. Logistically speaking, how was that to get in? Like, some of these really wowed me with their, like the outdoors. Yeah. But that one in particular, it's got to be hard to get into a construction zone, right?
So I think the thing that benefited us was this was before anybody was talking at all about reopening, and a lot of these spaces just were desperate to have somebody there, and nobody else was asking.
Yeah.
And so I think we were rewarded for our audacity and just kind of being like, can we do this? And they're like, yeah, why not?
Yeah, gosh, that's really cool. They were looking for promotion as much as you were looking to get in. That's great. Oh, so it's great insight to watch those performances as well into you as a performer or you as a band, as I like how you say. I am Mobley. Mobley is a band. It is you.
Yeah.
But it did get me thinking whether or not it was part of just the films itself, maybe just kind of getting it down to like a skeleton crew of just you to go out there and make the music, wondering in my head if I was going to show up last night and maybe there's another player on the stage, and it is not the case. It is you and all of your gear, which I would like to run through in a moment if you're willing.
Yeah.
But first off, I mean, is that something that you've always done? Is that something that you've always kind of chased down, just the creative control of just being you? What would you say is like the driving factor that leads you to?
So the records have always been basically me. I would occasionally have other people record some of the parts, but I was always writing basically all the parts. And so it's kind of been that way behind the scenes for a really long time. But about 4 years ago or so, I had a band. It was a trio. Then somebody left and it was a duo. And then I had a tour booked, and my drummer, who's the other guy in the band, couldn't make it. So I had to kind of make a decision between, like, do I drop off the tour? Do I do it acoustic? Or do I come up with something else? And so that's when I came up with the like one-man show.
Yeah.
And that was like an inflection point in my career. Like, I think people got what I was doing more, and it's kind of an unusual show. So yeah, it kind of kicked things into a higher gear, and I've just kind of ridden it that way ever since.
Yeah, gotcha. It's a really tight performance. I'd like to kind of walk through what to expect at a Mobley show. For anybody that hasn't had the pleasure of seeing Mobley in person, you've got your like a keyboard setup, you've got your guitar, you've got the drums. Is that all like interconnected to some looping? It seems like something that you take just hours of work to really get right. And hours is probably an understatement. Yeah,
so the rig, my live rig, like you said, is keyboard, which is this keyboard that I actually built with a friend of mine. Is kind of mission control for the whole show. It basically can control everything in the show, like down to the mixer. And then my guitar, I have a sampler that I play, my drums, I sometimes play bass. And then actually the rest of the show, I travel with lights and video as well that I program and design to like go with the show. And yeah, it takes like, to add a song, not including like writing and recording the song, to add a song to the set takes about 75 hours.
Wow.
That's between all the programming and, you know, like you said, like getting my guitar effects right, my vocal effects right, you know, like figuring out the looping and triggering and all that stuff. Yeah, it's a lot. It's intense.
Yeah, so I was way off with my guess of hours by about 70 of them.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. But it does shine through when it's performed live, again, as we saw last night and as we'll see again tonight at the Wonderbus Music Arts Festival. You know, that complete control kind of artist against the world ethos.
Yeah.
And I'd like to touch in on this essay that you wrote for the record, about like the labor of work. You're talking about putting in like the 75 hours to get one song even added to the set list. And touching in on one of the more lighter points of the article was how we've spent kind of the last year and a half, kind of you as an artist kind of spent toiling inside with the creative process while also having to deal with what everybody else is dealing with in being alone, plus the other logistical challenges and specific challenges that you face as an artist. But what I'd like to ask here is to kind of get into your head as the creative, as the artist, as the worker behind the art. How do you feel now, August 28th, 2021? Are you experiencing that feeling more often, less often? Are you optimistic? Are you looking at the world in a certain way as it stands right now today?
I guess I'm kind of split. So in terms of like the things that I think a lot of people want and believe in, I'm pretty optimistic. Like I think people want to treat each other well. I think people want to take care of each other, at least the majority of us. Yeah. And I'm optimistic about that. I am concerned about the inertia that is kind of pushing us back to normal.
Yeah.
Because normal wasn't good.
Right. Yeah.
Normal needed a lot of work, and I think, especially last summer, I think you saw that people having some time where they were, you know, a lot of us were out of work. You were at home, you had time to think about what you were doing with your time, with your life, the way the world was. I think a lot of us aren't satisfied with it and want to change things. And so yeah, I have faith in people broadly, but I worry about the systems that people are working within and the inertia that wants to push us back to where things were.
Yeah. So like in terms of getting back to normal, not necessarily a cause for celebration, but a cause for the return to that work to make normal better for artists, musicians,
everybody.
It's true. Yeah, the betterment of society at its core.
Yeah.
Well, I really admire that viewpoint. Again, Mobley joining us at the Wonderbus Music and Arts Festival today. A couple more things before we cut you loose and let you get on with the day. I did want to circle back to the visuals just a little bit longer. You say you got the background in film, talking about the virtual concerts that you put out. And I want to ask about something that happened last month. One, I love the music videos that are publicly released. The Mate music video, incredible.
Thank you.
Nobody's Favorite gave me chills watching it the first time and subsequent times as well. And you recently took to a drive-in down in Texas to screen the visual experience alongside Stop Making Sense, the classic Talking Heads film.
Yeah.
2 questions on this. Is there a chance that we'll get to see that and at some point in the future?
Yeah, it's coming out next week.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, we'll be on the lookout probably by the time that this interview hits the public eye. You can also chase that down.
I think it's September 2nd. It'll be out.
September 2nd.
Yeah.
I'll try and time this up so it's like now. You got to go see it now.
Right.
Get it now. How was the process? How was it making that, and how was the experience at the drive-in too?
Yeah, making it was really cool. We made it entirely before the pandemic started, and I had this idea for a story and a vision for this like 4-part short film, and so the larger film is comprised of the videos for Nobody's Favorite, James Crow, Dreams of Empires, and Lost Boys, and then we actually worked with this really talented animator from France to do these little like animated interludes between each of the videos.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so I'm really excited about that. So that was a great process, and then screening at a drive-in was really, really cool. This drive-in is in downtown Austin, and it's on the roof of a parking garage.
Oh,
so
that's
you're
nice.
like at night in your car, big screen, and then behind you is the skyline of the city. So getting to see the film on a big screen in that setting with the event sold out, which was really exciting. It was cool.
Yeah.
It was a really cool thing to get to do.
Gosh. And then you get to celebrate with dessert, as it were, to watch the Talking Heads film too.
Great film.
Oh, gosh, that's great. So watch the Talking Heads film, Stop Making Sense.
Yeah.
September 2nd is the day to remember to see the visual experience from Mobley.
Yeah.
The new album's still out everywhere now, Young and Dying in the Occident Supreme. One of my favorite records of the last year. Make sure to check that out as well. Again, it's Mobley joining us at the Wonderbus Music and Arts Festival. Thank you so much for swinging through.
Thank you. Really appreciate it, man.
Of course.
Thank you.
Hey, it's Mobley on Central Ohio's alternative CD 92.9.